Oh, hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. Tonight, we're going to be having our public meeting. My name is Joseph Patterson, and it is my pleasure to be here tonight. And very shortly, you're going to see other members of the team coming on. We have quite a bit of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about, well, why don't I wait for the others to join me? We can talk with everybody after that. Okay? So let's see, who do we have in the waiting room? Welcome, Director Janet Chakanowski. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Patterson. Good evening, audience and our uniters. Good to be here tonight again on another episode for you, the public, to come and know us better and learn more about the UIC so you can help spread the word about this third official registered party. You have another option, a third option.
Wow, very well said. And I'm seeing somebody here that's trying to appear. There we go. Ms. Claudia Barrett, our General Secretary, on screen. And we expect a few more people to be on as well. And let me see, what do we have here? Lentworth Duffus saying, I'm in the hall waiting. Welcome, Mr. Duffus. Glad to see you here. And Mr. Craig McKenzie, welcome to you as well. And Nathaniel Hemmings, one love to you as well. Mr. McKenzie's asking, how are you all doing? How are you doing, Jen Sek Barrett?
I am happy and blessed.
Okay, short and spicy, happy and blessed. How about you, Director Janet?
Well, I'm doing well. I have no complaints, even though it was a very challenging day. But here I am with a beautiful smile, genuine smile, ready to meet the people. I love coming here and talking with the people. And, you know, this is what helps to encourage us when we see you here. So help us get these lives out there so that more and more people can come and join in the conversation and come to the educational platform. Without this platform, many of us would be in the dark about what's going on in Jamaica. Not many people are willing to talk about the challenges and the realities of what's going on and what would be the solutions. And the UIC brings the plan and the practical solutions that can help to regenerate or rebuild Jamaica and move us forward in the right direction.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. All right. I see the Easy Jerk World TV on. He or she says, I am 3 manners and respect at UIC, at Joseph Patterson, at Silent Listeners listening. Big up yourself, the Easy Jerk World TV. Good to have you on. Anne-Marie Ferguson, good to see you on as well. Good evening to you too. And to all of you out there listening or watching from wherever you are. I know some of you are at work right now. And you kind of just listening while you're doing what you're doing. Some are relaxing at home. It's always a pleasure to have you all on here. Mr. McKenzie says, say hello to Anne. He's talking about Mrs. Patterson. I only know her by the name Anne. You know.
Okay. I know now.
Yourself. No, yeah, now you know. Big up yourself, Mr. McKenzie. He's the founding treasurer of the UIC. The first treasurer we ever had. You know, he's almost like a co-founder, you know, because it was right there at the very beginning. You know, we had many meetings in his home back in the day when we just started out. And his wife would be upstairs in the bedroom wondering when he's going to stop chatting with Joseph and come up, and, you know, back in the early days. And, you know, we also planned our first big barbecue together. You might not remember, I'm sure you remember, Mr. McKenzie. We had our first big fundraiser over in, I think it was in Pickering, at the first General Secretary's home. Her name was, oh my goodness, she'll kill me if I'm iffing about her name. You know, Miss Janice Collins, our first General Secretary. You know, she and her husband, very quiet guy, very, very peaceful guy, very silent supporter of the UIC. He was never out there, but he gave us his home, big backyard, Bring out the barbecue. People come from all over the place. Toronto, Pickering, Whitby, Brampton, Mississauga. Different people came. This is all in Canada. Eh? People came from all over, and they cook up a storm, burgers, jerk chicken, all kind of stuff. And we had our first fundraising event in Janice Collins and her husband's backyard. And my two daughters performing, Becky and Jojo, singing. It was quite a delight. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie and Janice, for those early days. That was in 2014, very early years. Yeah, 14, just formulating stuff. We have worked our way up from there. So it's been a while. It's been quite a work in progress. Many people have come and gone. You might recall, Mr. Mackenzie, when we're building out and then, some people came in and tried to take over. We found out afterwards that they were from the gay rights movement and they were trying to co-opt the UIC and turn it into a gay movement. And that was a difficult period. We've been through so much, so many challenges, but here we are. Hoping to see Mr. Wright and Mr. Neil on. I'm kind of holding grounds for them to jump on. We just lost Director Janet. Yeah, man, but we're still here fighting on. We had our first launch in Jamaica because we started stuff off in Canada first. We had people from all over. And one of the things we learned in the very early days, Ms. Barrett, was that people come sometime with a lot of different motives. They have no idea that they hide it very well. And so one of the things, remember I told you before, one of the motives was some who joined us were really trying to do a gay takeover of the movement. And that didn't work out. Then when the 2016 election happened now, and the Green Party won, we realized that a lot of people who were a part of us were actually from that party. And they were just supporting us to help to speak against the ruling party at the time, which was the PNP. So they weren't really UIC, they're just pretending.
Yes.
They pretended very well. I mean, they were involved in planning and activities, and you think that they're genuine, and they weren't genuine. And as soon as the Green Party won, they all left.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and then the same thing happened in when was it now? Well, there are some as well on the ground here who joined me from the PNP as well. And then when certain things happened, then they left. So it's been really, it's tough, it's tough to create a so-called third political party in Jamaica. People don't know half of what is involved.
Right.
We had our first launch right here at my property in Bogue, St. Elizabeth. We had 100 people on the lawns. We had big tent out, people coming from all over, and we had our first launch. Here's the funny thing. I'll tell you a joke. This was really embarrassing. At the first launch, we end up having nobody from the national executive turned up except my wife and myself. Not even one.
Oh, no.
Two persons showed up, two persons who were friends of ours who were here for vacation. They came and actually helped us to finish the preparation because nobody showed. So it's a lot we have been through. It's a lot. May I tell you, it's a whole heap we've been through to try, and it has been all of that. But we're still here. I just realized that we didn't let back in some people here. Welcome, Mr. Wright, and welcome back, Director Janet.
Oops.
You can hear me, Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wonderful.
Hi.
So tonight, I want to touch on some key topics here. I want to touch, first of all, on the... Let me do something first. If you don't mind, everybody, I'm going to do something before we get into all of this. I want to remind you all about our Christmas banquet coming up. So I want to make sure that we just set the stage for that. Then we're going to go into some discussion now about some substantive stuff beyond that. But I want all of you who are watching now to remember this.
Hi everyone, this is Charlotte and I hope you're doing great. I'm just stopping by to say hello and to remind you that UIC's annual Christmas fundraising banquet will be December 14th, 2024, starting at 5 p.m. This year, our location will be Summit Kingston, formerly called Knutsford Court Hotel, which is at 11 Ruthven Road, Kingston 10. As you may know, UIC Jamaica is 100% committed to good governance and aims to unite, liberate, and empower our people. If you desire to see Jamaica become the paradise it should be, clean, safe, beautiful, and orderly, then your contribution of 10,000 Jamaican dollars or 65 US per adult and 5,000 Jamaican dollars or 35 US per child will help us to provide a new leadership, a new system for a new Jamaica. We promise an evening with lots of fun, lively entertainment, great speeches, and delicious food. While it would be my greatest desire to see you all in person, I know some may not make it home for Christmas, but your donation will give someone less fortunate the opportunity to attend. Thank you so much for taking part in helping us to educate and work with our citizens to restore and in some cases rebuild our beautiful country. Here are your options to purchase your ticket. You can go to www.uicjamaica.com and pay online, or you can send payment via Western Union, MoneyGram, Zelle, Cash App, or bank transfer. Call 876-293-0812 for additional information. To RSVP, you can email us at info@uicjamaica.com, or you can WhatsApp us at 876-293-0812. Thanks a million for making this possible. One Jamaica, stronger together.
All right, wonderful. Welcome back, everyone. So our topic for tonight, to begin with, we have a few things we're going to go through, but one of them is the idea, who is JAHR Council, by the way? Who is that?
That's his name.
Who is JAHR Council? Could you identify yourself quickly for us so we can move along? JAHR Council? All right, we'll come back to that person. Okay, so we want to talk about, first of all, and I'm going to kick this off with Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, the UIC talks about new leadership, new system, and new Jamaica. What does that mean to you?
Thank you for the question, Mr. President. First, let me apologize to our viewers and our members on tonight. I still continue to have those tech issues, so you have not been seeing me on camera in recent times. I still continue to have those tech issues. So oops. Getting a feedback. Okay. So I'm working to resolve those, so pretty soon you'll see me smiling and pointing again. All right. Now, in terms of what new leadership means for me, is that I'm old enough to remember an extensive period of domination by the PNP, now an extensive period of domination by the JLP. And what I've come to recognize is that both parties are two different faces of the same kind. Mm-hmm. A system of control that remains, starting with the lie of independence. And persons at my age, as a matter of fact, everybody will remember growing up and hearing that we got independence in 1962. I believe that for a very long time. Only to hear now, and from the reading and from the legislature, that wasn't true. It was an extension of the self-government program. Right? Now, these two parties were created to maintain the status quo, and they have done that beautifully. I've seen where the limited rights that we enjoyed at the time of further self-governance, let's call it that, are now being eroded significantly, with most persons either being comfortable allowing it or ignorant and allowing it. Now, a new government is what the UIC offers. New system is what the UIC offers. New government in the sense that we will do away with the partisan culture, the system of control that these two colonial parties represent, and create a non-partisan constitutional republic. One that recognizes the rights of everyone equally. Your right to life, liberty, and property. Okay? Now, with that, you will now be empowered to be the best you. And of course, we'll have a system that doesn't exploit the people, doesn't seek to build on the backs of the people or support the oligarchy, the PSOJ oligarchs that exploit us, but rather to change the economic dynamics that we've seen in this country, where a few control the wealth and what trickles down to us is what we get, but rather an open economy where everyone will participate and seek to maximize their input and output. That's what it means to be Mr. President.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Wright. And it's always refreshing for me to hear another uniter that can so eloquently express what the UIC stands for and what we're trying to achieve. That is, I must tell you, as one who wears the title of founder, it's a huge reward for me to hear the message presented by others. So if you want me to feel good, if you just want me to feel good, just learn the message and be able to present it like Mr. Wright has done. That's all. You don't have to give me nothing else. Just understand this message and be able to present it and make you feel really good as a result of that, right? I see Mr. Craig McKenzie saying he's listening to the crickets in the background. And that's the beauty of living in the country. You know, Mr. Wright lives in Bethel in Westmoreland, and I'm here in St. Elizabeth. But Miss Barrett now, she lives closer to the town. So you might not see the crickets for her so much.
None of that, sir.
Them kill off all of the cricket with all the concrete jungle. All the concrete jungle they make up over there, so they kill off all the cricket them.
Poverty caused that.
Poverty. Oh my goodness.
Yes, we need the UIC. UIC is needed over here.
No, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you, Miss Barrett, something very, very important. I'm going to ask you to talk about the new Jamaica. Mr. Wright has told us how important the new leadership and new system is. But I want you to talk about the end result, what it looks like in your mind, in your own words. You know, what that new Jamaica will look and feel like based on what the UIC is trying to achieve. But before you tell us, I just want to point out what the old Jamaica is like. In the old Jamaica, we have, when we build a community, like in, say, Portmore, it's built in a way where sometimes you don't think they have factored in creating the most optimal environment for the citizens to live in. Like you have some parts of Portmore which is plagued by mosquitoes. You have some part of Portmore which is plagued by poor sewage management.
Yes.
Some parts of Portmore where you can never get good water flow unless it's very early in the morning or very late at night. Am I right? We used to live there, so I know I used to live in Portmore.
Good point, sir.
Yeah. And so, and then you also have some parts where it's like they just love concrete and asphalt, so they kind of kill out all of the green spaces, and you have very little. And where you have green spaces, they look barren and unkept and unclean and uninviting, unexciting. It don't look like they make it for people to live in. It's like almost a pigsty. Not quite a pigsty because it's not that bad. But I mean, it just not nice. It no. For example, let's say you're a young couple, married, you know, 2 kids. They're going to primary school. One is going to primary school. One is in, you know, the first year of high school. And they come home from school. Is there a lovely park they can just easily go to the park? It's safe. It is nicely fenced. It has beautiful plants and so on. It has areas for the younger kids to play on the jungle gym and it's safe. You have sandboxes and stuff and whatever. Then you have the part for the bigger kids, you know, to play soccer and play tennis and table tennis or lawn tennis and basketball. You know, like a nice place for the family. And so mommy and daddy can get a breather because the kids come home from school, but there's this nice place. Or a community center that's a part of it. You know, so you have that part. You have a community center here now, which have when you go through the front door, there's staff there to greet you. There's somebody there. So it's not just careless and Lego. You go in there, there's a front desk. What do you want to do? Where you're going? Over there says the library. Over there says the study room. Over there says the gym. Over there is the counseling center. Over there says the toddlers and our mothers and young mothers center, whatever. Nice things for the family, for the people. And that means in my head for the future in Jamaica. What do you see?
What I see is clean hospitals where you have helpful staff, you have staff, doctors, everybody, you know, polite, willing to help, sympathetic to your situation, you know, understand say you're in a pain, and when you're in a pain, you behave some way. So don't can I use the word hug me?
Of course.
You know, not treat me
is.
like that. Not treat me like that. Give me some respect. Understand that I'm in pain, and you carry me to where I'm to go, and assist me with easing the pain, and you know what you're supposed to do then. I see so you're going to have your equipment, you know, enough beds, all the necessaries. I also see education. In education, I see children learning skills from early, because it's not everybody when take the book work. You know, you have somewhere good with them hands. So at them hand them I go work with. So you have to, for example, right now you have primary schools where they are turning out children who are going to high schools and can't spell them name.
Exactly.
And I know that of a fact. It's not a guess and spell thing. And if it is that child book work and a theme thing, when I was growing up, every Thursday and Friday, I used to be doing sewing at primary school. So you're learning a skill. And I think that although me still me never take it well, but you know, they did taught us out. So you give the children skills from early. And not just take out book every day and this will be expensive, unnecessary textbooks. But them can't read from, because you know, teach them, you realize that them slow, but you're not helping them to get to where they're to go. You just have them at the back of the class, and anytime you catch up, you know. I see a new Jamaica with better roads. I can go out to Devon House to have some ice cream at 7 o'clock in the evening and know that I not have to watch my back.
Exactly.
When me drive and reach my gate, I not have to watch my back for driving inside.
Exactly.
You know? And it excites me when I think about all of this, the changes, you know, you have your clean food. When I go, all right, so I used to go to the supermarket and pick up certain things. And for the longest while now, I have to cut out tin things because I don't know what them are put in it. I love tin mackerel, but I have to stop eating it because I don't know what is going into it.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So because of that, a lot of that I have to which not really so healthy for me still, but I love it. So now I am where I am, and I don't have enough space to plant 2 banana and little vegetable and that kind of thing there. I am looking forward to that new Jamaica.
Amen.
Because
exactly.
When I get back my 4 parents' land, Me can plant freely. Me can raise me chicken them freely. So me can get me organic chicken and me organic egg, and me can eat better. Me pick me ripe banana from my tree when me want it, or in the morning me just go out and pick one orange or one tangerine, and you can eat better. So in every aspect of our lives, I know that there will be a change, and a change for better,
Well said. Well
Yeah,
said.
really.
Mr. Ziggy Watercress says, blessings from London. Keep up the magnificent struggle. Together we must win. And Kirk says, special good night, Sir Patterson and all uniters in class tonight. And Miss Monica Richards says, we want UIC. And then Mr. Craig Mackenzie says, new system will have no ghettos. The
Yes.
entire island will be a tourist resort. We love UIC, says Monica Richards. And Mr. Mackenzie says, clean and orderly and organized society. And Monica says, we don't like them, the nasty. And Mr. Mackenzie says, wonderful education and entrepreneurial system.
Yeah.
Public areas are decent and well managed. Healthcare system that is second to none for both babies, adults, and elderly. And the list goes on, because Mr. Mackenzie, as the first treasurer of the UIC, knows all of these things
Right.
off the top of his head. Welcome, Angor. You're late, but that's fine, as you said. Mr. Rockwell, fix or create the community recreation grounds to accommodate. Mr. Madison is more than fix. What they have is deplorable. It wasn't even designed in the first place as meaningful community centers, to be honest with you. They put up a little building and then there's a community center. The truth is, they do not respect the Jamaican people, and they know that many who are here don't know what they don't have.
Yes.
They've been trained to just accept this, that they think this is it. They don't know what real government should be. Jamaica has not had a real government since its inception, since the so-called self-governance. We have not had a government that's of the people, by the people, or for the people. So I want to pivot now with Mr. Neil on. And Mr. Neil, I'm coming to you now. So we talked about the new leadership, new system, and new Jamaica. And it was made very clear that we must be a new set of leaders. We, the UIC, must be a new set of leaders with a new mindset and a new mission for Jamaica. We must embrace and implement a new system, a non-partisan constitutional republic, and we must advance a new vision and a new set of values for a new Jamaica. But Mr. Neil, I want you to talk about the need for land reparation and what that means to you and what you think it should mean to all Jamaicans. Mr. Neil, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, everyone. All right, so we cannot have freedom without property. It can't be that we say that we are free and sovereign persons, yet we have no real claim to property. Now, as it is in Jamaica, all of us are deemed land holders, not landowners. The land belongs to the crown because, based on the laws that they have set, there is one sovereign, and that's the person who sits on the throne in England. So that's a sovereign, and that person's family is sovereign, the king and his family. And we are commoners. Everybody is commoner. Even those who see themselves as lords and nobles are a higher set of commoners, not sovereign, as is the sovereign. Worse, we in Jamaica, when none of us is nobles. So that system sees some people as better than, while others are less than. And because we are less than, we don't deserve to own our own space where we live. but someone who lives outside of Jamaica owns our land and owns us. And that is the concept. Now, land reparations for UIC will see us actually owning our land, no more being landholders, but now being landowners. And part of that deals with doing away with this property tax. Now, if you have owned land through buying it or inheriting it as a gift or as a heirloom to your family, if you think about it, why do you keep paying the government for the land that is rightfully ours? We see that is really indicating, and you are indicating by participating in this system, which is the law, so you know you have to obey the law. But what it really boils down to is that you are agreeing and you are giving credence to the thought that the land is not yours, the land belongs to the crown and the government manages it on behalf of the crown. And that is why we see where our leaders can kick people off land that they have been on for generations. We saw that last year, where people have been on land. Their grandfathers and grandmothers grew up there. They came and saw their parents there. Their great grandparents grew up there. But guess what? Master come in from land now and they have to leave. No, this is injustice. This is a deep-seated form of injustice, although it has been ingrained in our psyche that this is the law and this is so. Nevertheless, it's injustice, and the UIC wants to correct this injustice that is meted out on the people, so that if we own land, we really truly do own land, and all the land that they say is crown land is actually belonging to the people. And now, what we will do now is ensure that every family in Jamaica has access to land, and that any development that is done on any land that is unclaimed by any person, which is the people's land, will benefit the people. So every Jamaican, every truly Jamaican citizen who was born in Jamaica or born of descended from Jamaicans, who would have been paying their taxes, and that you know our taxes that 10% from income from our sources. You are now participating in your governance of your country. Now, then any business that is done on that land, the people's land, that is not owned or claimed by any private person, will return dividends that goes to the people. So that just by being Jamaican and playing your part in governing your country, you are gaining because it's your land. They're doing business on your land, so you must gain from it. Now, this is a powerful thing. This is a very powerful concept because now the people will not be seen as tenants and squatters in the land in which they are born, but now they truly own the land, and by virtue of that, any business done on the land benefits you monetarily because of your land. And so we shift away from the mindset that there's somebody higher than us, better than us, more sovereign than us, and we embrace the notion that we are each sovereign, and each of us being sovereign in and of ourselves because we are here means that the land on which we reside is ours, and the land also is sovereign because we are sovereign.
Well said, Mr. Neil, and thank you so much for that. Once again, another uniter who is able to clearly articulate the message. And this is very powerful, I hope you get it, and I want you all to share this message with the rest of Jamaica, that when you support the UIC, you're supporting the protection of your fundamental rights. The right to your life, the right to your liberty, your freedom, and the right to your property. And that property right extends to the land that was stolen from your ancestors. And that property right extends to you not paying an annual rent for your land in the form of property taxes. This is powerful. And if we can get this to be understood by our fellow Jamaicans, they would never, ever look back to the two colonial parties that have denied them this land for all these years. Can you imagine that your grandmother and grandfather had to be slaving to buy land or paying property tax or paying rent, simply because the two colonial parties have withheld this land from us. They claim that they represent us now, They claim that they are our representatives in parliament. And have you ever heard any one of your so-called representatives fighting for the land to be returned to you? None whatsoever. Some of you will say that, well, Manley gave people land. We're not talking about giving out land and getting political mileage for it. We're talking about giving back what was stolen from our people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give some away. My mother, who is a strong PNP for years and did whatever, she was so happy that Manley give her a piece of land. I was distorted. I was angry. I was saying, Mom, why is Manley giving you a piece of land? Manley is not supposed to give you a piece of land. Manley is supposed to ensure that every Jamaican have what is rightfully theirs, which is their land. It's not Manley land to give some and not give some. It's not Siaga land to give some and not give some. And that's what they did. They created garrisons. So when Manley was in power, he gave theme people them land down a bottom site in a Seaview Gardens. And when Siaga come into power, he gave his people land up a top site. And then you have a train line run between it. And now you have bottom site at PNP and top site at JLP. And then you can't walk peacefully across each site. We don't want that kind of Jamaica. We want a Jamaica where all Jamaicans see all Jamaicans as just Jamaicans, and because all of we are treated the same way. We don't want those who get benefit from PNP and those who get benefit from JLP. We want a Jamaica that benefits all Jamaicans equally. So whatever we have as a family, it is divided among us equally. If it's ours collectively. If it's something you earn it. If you go and work hard and learn to run fast, we can't share your equal running with everybody else. You just run fast. If you are an entrepreneur and you're better at building new products and marketing it and making it very successful, obviously you're going to be richer than others who didn't. That's fine. We're not talking about redistributing anybody's wealth. We're talking about government must treat all of us equally. We don't want to give of UIC people, we give UIC people this, but we not give to the other. No. We don't want that. And so Mr. Neil has done very well in explaining that. On the chat section here, we have, hold on. Welcome back, Sister Janet. How are you doing? We missed you there for a bit, you drop off. Mr. Wright is still there? Okay, Mr. Wright.
Very much, sir. Listening to the cricket.
Okay, listen to the cricket. Okay. So we had Mr. Mackenzie says, we will need to implement a system that teaches how to manage mind, body, and money. So he's talking about our education plan, where, I know for years we have been taught that education is about reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then they add on to that now science and technology. But the UIC takes a different perspective. Our perspective, you want to talk about that, Mr. Wright or Sister Janet? I mean, anybody who want it, because I talk too much sometimes. Anybody else wanted to jump in on that item? It's one of my favorite, by the way, because I strongly believe in a different paradigm of education. One where we recognize that the three most important things for every human being to learn is one, understanding yourself, your mind, your body, and your personality, how to form a solid character. Because your character, to me, is your greatest credit score. They have credit score when you're borrowing money. They look at what's your credit score. Are you a trustworthy person to lend money to? That's your character as far as I'm concerned. So you want an education system that focuses the child on being the best human being he or she should be. It shouldn't just be about passing subjects to go make money.
Yeah.
That is so debilitating, so demoralizing. That is a small part of life. The most important part of life is that you understand you, your mind, how to develop your mind, how to eat right and exercise and think right so that you end up with the right kind of mental stamina. Then you have to understand your body. How does this beautiful creation of God works? What do you put in it for it to work optimally? When should you sleep? What should you eat? What should you drink? What should you not drink? What should you not eat? How much should you eat? You follow me, Sister Janica? I know you know all them things, you know. How much? And then when you're eating right and drinking right and sleeping right and thinking right, what a beautiful person you're going to be. So that's mind and body. And then now formulating the personality that comes with morals. What kind of morals do you have? A key part of your moral framework is what the UIC teaches. Do you believe in the right of everybody to their life, liberty, and property? Or do you have a twisted morality, which think that you should get something for nothing, or you should take what belongs to others? If you can teach at the very basic level and right through our development as an adult, that you have a right to do whatever you want with your life, with your liberty, and with your property, provided you do not use force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property of somebody else. Just imagine at Jamaica where all of we believe that. From basic school to PhD, all of we understand that's the moral upbringing. So even if you're not a Christian, or you're not a Muslim, or you're not an Hindu, or you're even an atheist, you all know the common morality that I must respect the life, the liberty, and the property rights of everybody else. And nobody has a right to take that away from me either. And so once you master those fundamentals, then you move now to the next element of our education plan, which is understanding other people, understanding human behavior, understanding how to form good relationships with others, parental relationship, friend relationship, romantic relationship, business relationship. What a beauty if our homes were so built with people who were trained and taught in how to build good relationships. Husband and wife would be better off. How much have we learned in school? How much of us learn in school how to have a good husband and wife relationship, how to have a good parent and child relationship, how to have good wholesome friendships, how to properly engage in business relationships? We don't learn that. They focus on maths and English and physics and chemistry and accounting and economics and whatever, just so. Oblivious to these fundamental things you need to succeed. If you master relationships, that's one of the biggest pieces of life. You'd have less divorce, less problems between parents and children, more wholesome homes. And if your homes are strong, your nation is even stronger. It's that simple. So after we deal with you, mastering you, and after we deal with you mastering dealing with other people, relationships, then comes a critical piece, mastering money. All the way up and down to use money. How can you leave school and don't understand something you must use? Many of us, if we learn geometry in school, we hardly ever use it. We might learn trigonometry, we hardly ever use it. We might learn something in a science about optics and mechanics, we hardly ever think about it. But all of we have to use money. All of we have to use money. So why not make sure that when a child finishes school, they fully understand the science of money, the mechanics of money, the laws of money, the morality of money, the economics of money, monetary policy, and how that, because when you learn these things, I'll give you an example of why you need this. Right now in Trinidad, they're going through a big problem with their exchange rate. because the government has done some foolish things. But the people have no idea what the government has done. They're feeling the effects and they're angry, but they don't understand what has been done to them. We have gone through it in Jamaica as well. If the people had the education I'm talking about, two things would happen. A, the politicians couldn't fool them. And B, because of that, they'll be wealthier and on top of their government and could not be taken for a ride. But as long as we're ignorant of money, the kind of foolishness like what is happening now, where the Prime Minister is telling us about him going to give us 7% on GCT for electricity, him going to give some away $20,000, and him going to give some away some break on this or that. Gimmicks. And that we want. We don't want all these gimmicks. What we want is an economy that works for all of we.
Yeah.
So that if you get up and you go to work and earn your money, inflation not gonna teeth it way. And because the economy is properly designed, there's many job opportunities for people at different levels. So there's jobs for the young kids who are just coming out of school, and they have jobs to flip burgers. They don't have adults competing with them to get the job that are pick me job. And adults can upward mobility because the economy offers us so many different layers of employment opportunities because you have a good economic model. Instead, they have to come with gimmicks to fool we up at election times. And guess what? Because they're making us more and more fully dunce, it works. You follow me? Because they made us fully dunce. The UIC want to make us fully bright.
Yep.
We want a society where all the way fully bright. Now, guess what? All of we don't have the same abilities. So some of us are going to leave school and we're going to be good tradesmen and women. Plumbing, carpentry, electrical, whatever it is. Some will make it another step up. They're now technicians, electronic technicians, mechanical technicians. And some are going to be engineers and lawyers and doctors. And some are going to be aerospace engineers and scientists and philosophers. But you want a school system that brings out the best in all of it. And that is the foundation of the UIC. Anybody want to jump in at this point before we move on? Just open your mic and
Yes, sir. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Being an educator myself, having a strong foundation in place from the basic school up is very, very important. I think one of the theme areas that we have to teach children from their very young is treat others the way you want to be treated. And not only verbalizing that, but actually demonstrating it. Have little plays where kids are, interplaying with each other, and we're demonstrating and giving examples. And of course, eating right, because when we teach them at school how to eat, now they can take that home. In fact, it's not just eating right, but wherever you're living, we should teach children how they can actually plant a garden. You can live in the city and get buckets with soil in it and plant your peppers and your tomatoes, and they're learning how to become self-sufficient. Because if we don't teach children how to be self-sufficient through critical thinking skills, it's not just me talking to them, but them interacting with me asking them questions, they asking questions as the teacher. That's what we're there for. It's not to dictate to the children, but to interact and have conversations with them with the life experiences. No matter how young they are, you simplify it. I taught early childhood, you simplify. Hi guys, I'm live. We teach, we simplify it and get them to understand and relate to those areas. And as we're developing those areas, you can see those changes happening in them, and they won't lose it. When you give them that strong foundation, they will not lose it. They will just carry it up to the higher level grades as they go through their schooling experiences. So,
wonderful. Thank you, Director Janet. Much appreciated. Mr. Wright, I want to shift gears a little bit now and talk about crime. So the UIC, is pushing for land reparation, and we're big on that, and we're going to make sure that happens in our first term in office. And we also are big on crime prevention. And I know the other people, them talk about crime fighting. we tend to take a different position and not just fighting crime, but why not make sure we do the things that will prevent crime in the first place? So share your thoughts with us, Mr. Wright, and we're going to come to Mr. Mackenzie, who has now joined us on the live as well. Go ahead, Mr. Wright. Crime prevention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me encourage everyone that is listening to understand that UIC plan is not a single layer plan. When we talk about education, when we talk about health and nutrition, when we talk about housing and land reparation, when we talk about governance, we're not purporting that we will do one or some of these things. It is a holistic plan to create an entire new Jamaica, a combination of all these things. All right? So you might hear land and think, oh, this is nice, but also listen to the rest. Now, for us, crime is a problem. And the reason why crime is a problem is because the two political parties that existed created it. Yes, they created it. As a matter of fact, in any other country, those leaders would have been charged for either crimes against humanity or treason. Now, here we are with the criminals breaking their connections to the political party, sort of, and creating their own economic means by exploiting us, by victimizing us. And these political parties, these politicians, these career politicians, they want to remain in office for their personal enrichment, and therefore they embrace this criminal culture. They make sure they weaken the systems that exist, even though they were already weak, to make sure that their friends and connected ones that are all corrupted can escape the consequences of their actions. The UIC will plug those loopholes to ensure that you pay for your crime. Now, crime prevention is first on our list. And crime prevention for us is not having curfews and curtail the rights of citizens, but rather look at the socio-economic factors and make sure that we invest in that change. And this is where land reparation, productive use of land, this is where education comes in and the other facets of the UIC plan. From there, we want to make sure that citizens having their rights have a police service, not a force, not a group of men who will shoot a 64-year-old senior citizen in the back 24 times, but a group of men who respect your rights. Not an officer will stop you on the street and tell you that they have the right to violate the law, even though a sitting justice on the Supreme Court has issued instructions and shared that ruling with the commissioner of police to say these actions are unlawful, but to date, those actions still carry on. So the UIC will make sure you have a police service that understands your rights to life, liberty, and property, and will accept their role to protect those rights. Now,
even against the government.
Even against the government.
So if the government is doing anything that is going to violate your right, it is the duty of the police not to follow the instructions, but to oppose the government if it seeks to do so. And while you're speaking, Mr. Wright, use this opportunity to talk about the project you're working on as well right now.
Definitely. I'll come to that after I finish the thought. So that police service, as the president has indicated, will respect your rights. Your allegiance will not be to the ruling class, so to speak, but will be to the Constitution. And that Constitution will clearly define your rights as a citizen and tell the police how to protect those rights and tell them how not to violate those rights. As a matter of fact, it will tell everyone. Everyone will have that information and be able to know what is to be obtained. So a police service is what you will have. And of course, a system of policing that is not rooted in our colonial past. For example, if you look at the JCF and how it was created as a night watch group to protect the rich in Kingston. And then it was promulgated into the fields and eventually it became the mainstay of policing in Jamaica. And that force remains today, where the brutalization of the poor masses is the easiest way to get results. We hear the lies that crime are down in Jamaica. But if you compare that quote-unquote dip in the statistics, you realize that there's a corresponding increase in police fatalities. Most of those have undertones of extrajudicial activities. So they're trying to clean the slate to give an illusion that they're doing the work necessary. Only the UIC has the moral authority to do this work. Because if they were to truly create a police force or service that would properly, thoroughly investigate crime, bring a proper case to the courts or prosecution without any interference, whether at the investigation level or the prosecution or the adjudication level, most of these politicians will find themselves in trouble, and we see it reaches to the highest level.
Well, the two parties, Mr. Wright, the two parties themselves would have been classified as criminal gangs.
Correct.
And would have had to, seriously, they could not actually stand for election because they would have been properly classified as criminal gangs who have engaged in acts against the interest of the Jamaican people, and therefore should be criminalized as a body and barred from holding office because of what they have done. So I know that they've sanitized themselves in the eyes of those who wish to be so fooled into thinking that we're dealing with two ordinary institutions. But the Prime Minister today on TVJ spoke about going after the gangs. Well, that would mean going after themselves. Am I not correct?
Absolutely correct, because there are unconfirmed reports that link politicians recently to gun activity in the island. And
One Prime Minister had to resign. Recently, one Prime Minister had to resign because it became blatantly and unequivocally clear of his connection with the underworld. And am I missing? Didn't we have a Prime Minister who had to resign because of his association with criminal activities or criminal personnel?
Yes, those allegations were made, and we had appeared at the office under the strength of those allegations.
Yeah.
So
and there are other allegations which have not been proven, but almost every Jamaican with a brain knows that they're practically true. So, as you rightly said, if they were ever to really pursue, they can't do it. They would implicate themselves. So they cannot pursue solving the crime monster that they have created, because they are a catalyst. They are a protector. They are a facilitator and a creator of the problem.
Definitely. So what it brings us to is who has the will, the moral authority to euthanize in a skillful way the crime monster that was birthed and released on us. Only the UIC. We have no encumbrance that the other parties have. We have no skeletons in our closet that needs to hide, or any dirty hands that need to be sanitized. So let's bear that in mind. So we will do what is necessary. You hear recently where the Minister of National Security, he woke up from one of his slumbers and said that cameras are of no evidentiary purposes. But then we realize that other first world countries use them to great evidentiary purpose. So what is wrong with our system? It's simple. There is no system. What they have done is gone out and expended billions of dollars of our tax dollars with a third party on the island that is connected to them to purchase cameras, but not a system to make it evidentiary.
Well, they don't want it to be evidentiary.
Correct.
You see, all they wanted is optics. Everything in Jamaica is about optics. It's not about substance. Pause for a second, Mr. Wright. I'm going to come right back to you. Mr. Mackenzie, can you hear us clearly?
I can hear you clearly, sir.
Wonderful. What are your thoughts on the conversation so far? What you're hearing from Mr. Wright and others?
What Mr. Wright has said about, the UIC hands not being, we don't have any hands that need to be sanitized, or there's no skeletons in our closet. I want to kind of go a little further where that is concerned, in terms of, can we, the people right now, under the law as it obtains at this very moment, take these two colonial parties to bear justice as under the law currently?
We could if we had the resources. Meaning, for example, in any case, right? You have to prepare evidence. and you have to put all of that together. You have to hire the lawyers, and the system is designed, Mr. McKenzie, to ensure that those that we're trying to go up against are protected by it, by nature. So, for example, how many Jamaicans can appeal to the Privy Council if they really needed to? Meaning, you are going through the court system, you have an issue, and you want to appeal to the Privy Council. How many of us would have the resources to navigate that system and make it to the Privy Council? For example, right now, there are 3 individuals who have an issue before the courts, right? 3 individuals. One of them have had that issue for 14 years. One have had the issue for going on 3 plus going 4 years. And one have had that issue for roughly a few months. Notice the difference in treatment. Mr. Wright, can you comment on that?
Yes. Individual 1, let's start in a unanimous way. Individual 1 with the issues for a couple months. That person has an expedited hearing and is expecting a ruling. Individual 2, who has the 4-year plus track, is still had the hearing eventually after being put off and, for want of a better term, jerked around, and is still waiting several months later, almost a year, still waiting for a ruling. And of course, individual 3, who has the 14-year issue, finally, on humanitarian grounds, is being given assurance that the case will now move forward because the case is painful to this individual, and the lack of service from the court is not an issue. It's just that the individual is suffering from not having the matter adjudicated. Now, let's make it more realistic. Individual 3 is an 84-year-old old lady, and she eventually had enough and was, I guess, inspired by us. I'm just saying, and wrote to the Chief Justice, and he made those assurances after a 14-year wait for her case to be heard.
How old is she? How old is she now?
She's 84 now.
So she has been waiting from she was 70.
Correct.
And her issue is access to her property, because she has been locked out roughly from having full access to her property because somebody has built, over the area that she would walk to get into her property. So she can't even have a taxi go up to her gate. So here's an 84-year-old woman. She was already vulnerable at 70, and she's now even more vulnerable at 84. And she has to be fighting in the courts to get redress. And the court system in Jamaica saw her as irrelevant and parked her for 14 years. How inhumane and unjust can we be to the people of our country? Just imagine. I know sometimes we don't pay attention because it's not we feeling it, or each of us. But just put yourself in her shoe. Suppose you have an issue that you need to bring before our courts, an issue which is affecting you greatly, and you have to wait 14 years before you can get a promise from the Chief Justice that they will now seek to expedite the matter. It's not even resolved yet, and we may forget about her. In fact, what may happen, sorry, Mr. Wright, what may happen is he says, I give assurance I'm going to get into it. And we all say, wow, and then we move on from the 9-day wonder. And she might even pass away, and that assurance does not come away.
And not to cut you though, Mr. President, I'm going to restrict your commentary on the matter though.
Yeah.
For legal reasons.
Well, I'm not commenting on my matter. I'm commenting on her matter.
Okay, I understand the difference, but let me hold your commentary just in case.
Okay.
All right. Now, she has that issue and has to struggle with those vulnerability. Imagine if she's sick. How does she get to the main thoroughfare? Imagine if she's in need of urgent medical care and has to be transported. Okay? I can tell you that is terribly debilitating and frightening to know that you're locked in. Now, persons turn away from natural justice or the justice system for these very reasons, because they don't see it as being helpful to the process of settling issues. And the UIC plan will diversify how these matters are handled. But back to the issue. Individual 2 is Joseph L. Patterson, and he brought his constitutional motion. And after being given the runaround and told in 2021 that his case will not be heard until 2024, they have kept to their promise. Because even though his case, he was able, and his legal team was able to make submissions in the court before the justices in 2023, and they promised a ruling at July, I think, 2024, that ruling has not been delivered. So will we, as Jamaicans who pay those lofty salaries to those clerks, to the Chief Justice, to those justices, will we stand for that and have Joseph Patterson wait 14 years for his case to be adjudicated? No. We realize that there are no consequences to civil servants when they err or when they deliberately make these lapses in judgment and it affects our lives. And the damages are paid for, or the persons are left just to figure it out. But there are no consequences to them. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets reprimanded. Nobody faces the consequences of their actions. Because we all say, so Jamaica stay. Well, let's change that right now. The UIC is about challenging the status quo. And everyone listening right now, you are asked to write to the Supreme Court. The email address was provided, and we'll provide it again. We'll ask the tech to put it up. Write to the Supreme Court. It is your right as a citizen to find out and ask what is happening with Joseph Patterson's case. That's all you have to do from behind your keyboard right now. Whether it's your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. You can sit there right now and type these words. What is happening with Joseph Patterson's case? That's all you need to write. And they will recognize that you see that they want another 14-year wait. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a candidate, a viewer, or even a supporter of the colonial parties. You must be a supporter of justice. You must be a Jamaican before a partisan. And this affects Jamaica. The way I like to put it, the same knife will stick the hog, stick the goat.
Yeah.
So when it's your turn, who will you cry to? Who will come to your aid when you did not stand up when the system was broken? So again, the challenge is to write that email. Also, we have a petition that is running. And again, we'll post the link for that petition and ask you to add your signature to it, to ask the justices, to ask the Chief Justice to expedite that hearing. And guess what? It can be done because he just did it. He just did it for that 84-year-old lady. So why can't he do it for Joseph Patterson? I'll do better than that. They did it for Andrew Holness, who is individual number 1, who was able to get his case before the courts in less than 90 days, in less than 60 days, and a hearing and a ruling is promised before 90 days. So in totality, his case should not last more than 90 days. That is what they're saying to him. But Joseph Patterson has gone 4 years. The 84-year-old lady has gone 14 years. And as a Jamaican, you are comfortable with that? I am not. I've had to sit in those courts and navigate the court system, and I know how horrible it is. How undignified poor people are treated. So, tell me, is this a place that justice is for sale? Yes, it is. But we can stop that sale. Only the person with the highest lawyer, the richest lawyer, can take their case to as far as the Privy Council. You have to have monies to avail yourself of the justice system. And that must change, because justice must be for everyone. Justice must be for the rich or the poor, and that is why she was blindfolded, so she doesn't look on anyone with favor. But we as Jamaicans have found a way to do that, and the UIC will change that back. And it starts with Joseph L. Patterson right now. So again, we're going to put up the link to the petition for you, and I'm asking you to sign, because it could be your son next. And when I say your son next, I do mean it, because we remember a few years ago, there were 4 gentlemen in lockup. One of them went to buy a Lasco for his baby. And when his baby mother go to the station after she heard that he was carted away, she said not even the Lasco she couldn't get. And I'm sure that Lasco didn't go to court. However, they were held for a protracted period, almost a year, without a period in court. Yet the so-called constitution that we have say you must be taken before a judge forthwith for the matter of bail to be sought. All right. So if justice can be skewed at will in Jamaica, if the judges can be influenced, how can we trust them to say that the new constitution they're giving us is a proper one? How can we trust their Caribbean Court of Justice? Let us end their kangaroo court. And you are doing it right now by typing that email. And O'Shane, put up that email for me. And you're doing it right now by signing that petition. O'Shane, put up that link for me. So my people, don't wait until it happens to your son, your child, your daughter. Because if you notice now, there even school kids are being abused by the security forces. They're not only picking on adults now. And yes, our kids might be misbehaving. Yes, our kids might be less than they should be, but they're a product of the environment that we have created. And we're going to make them worse by turning a beast on them. So now let's stand up and start fixing the system. Let's start right here with Joseph L. Patterson. Let us show them that justice should be for everyone. Let them know that justice doesn't see color. We don't care whether you're orange, green, or blue. We just care that you're a Jamaican who needs justice.
So, Mr. Wright, I'm not seeing the email being put up. I don't think, it doesn't seem like Mr. O'Shane is in the back office. So maybe somebody else can put up the email address for the Chief Justice so that persons can get it and use that to...
I will share them instantly.
Okay, just put it in the comment, put it in the chat there. And the link to the petition. Bear in mind, folks, that what is being accomplished here, they're ensuring that their political opponent is in jail while they pursue their election. And this is jail, because you're out on bail. You're not free to operate fully. And they're draining your energy and your financial resources while they carry on as if nothing is happening. And they're hoping that the Jamaican people will totally forget and that they will just silence their political opponent in the abyss of their judicial system. So if you want justice in Jamaica, you need to run for Prime Minister and make sure you're the Prime Minister so that your case will be expedited. Otherwise, you may have to wait 14 years. Can you imagine if your political opponent can be kept on bail for 14 years and you can have them going to court every few months, wasting money and time and energy, and not being able to fully plan and organize their political party and all of that, and have jail hanging over their heads? Because if they make one wrong move, you can lock them up and say you violated bail or whatever. That's the goal, that's what they're trying to do here. And I know Mr. Wright said I shouldn't comment, but I have to comment and say these things. And I wonder if, just wondering out loud, if the Jamaican people, you've protested for less, I think. Is the Jamaican people ready and prepared to protest for their rights? Because I am simply representing your rights. I'm fighting for your rights, and I am the one that is being scapegoated, the one that is being plucked, the one that is being stretched and quartered. But I am just representing you. So when they crucify me, they're going to crucify you, because today for me, tomorrow for you. Which of you will be the next person to wait 14 years? What about the next political leader who arises? Will they also be arrested and delayed their day in court until their political party is diminished and marginalized and forgotten? And then they just simply continue. A serious thing, listen, people. This is very, very serious. Very, 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 very serious. We should be, we should be as, think of the worst thing that could be going on that would cause you to want to take to the streets. This is equivalent, because what they're doing is robbing you of your right to justice. Right now, they're doing it to me and to others you don't know about. This lady for 14 years, we didn't know about her until Mr. Wright bring this up and started to champion this cause. And then, whoops, you know why they bring it up? Most times, they have a plan. The news, never take the news for granted. The news is always has an agenda. They either want to overshadow something, or they want to downplay something, or they want to say it's not just you. We do it. It happened to other people too. So it's not that significant. And you alone. See, many other people have their cases delayed too. I don't know. It's big. This is something. They have jailed their political opponent. That's what they do in communist countries, dictatorships. You jail your political opponent, and then you try to weaponize the justice system against them, and you weaponize the police against them. That's what you do when you're trying to create some serious fascist or dictatorship enterprises. I know many of us believe that Jamaica is a democracy. Jamaica is not a democracy. A democracy is majority rule. When did you ever see the majority of Jamaicans get what they want in this country? I don't subscribe to democracy, because democracy is a dangerous thing. And I'll explain to you why. But let's say we accept them. They said Jamaica is a democracy. When have you ever seen the majority get their way in Jamaica? For example, during the pandemic situation, the majority was against the injection. Did the government ever pause in its relenting effort to push this? No, they didn't care what the majority wanted. In Jamaica, it's minority rule, and that minority is the PSOJ oligarchy and the political parties they control. The PSOJ oligarch, the government represents them and the colonial masters. It never represents we the people. That is why, even though the vast majority of us no longer vote, there's still a government, and it carries out the wishes of those who control it. And it's not controlled by the majority. So they don't care. So the sooner we understand the battle we're fighting, is the more we're going to have the energy and the zest. You see, back in old-time slavery, it was very clear who the enemy was. The enemy was those who put us in chains and whip us and put us to work. That was very clear. But they have tricked us now into mental slavery, where we don't even know that we're still slaves. And so now we're going about our business thinking nothing na go on. Stop na go on. We are in chains, judicial chains, regulatory chains, taxation chains, rights being denied chains. Subtly, trickily. We have a justice system, but no justice. We have a police system, but the police is oftentimes a criminal in uniform. So we have a serious problem. And the sooner we understand that, the sooner we as uniters can infect the rest of the nation with the understanding we are getting. We have to get the rest of the nation to understand what is happening to them, because them don't know. Any Jamaican right now who is busy saying shower and power is a Jamaican who is fully dunce. Or hypocritical, deceptive, evil, because they know where I go on and they're promoting it. But there are many who don't know, and that's why they get up and say shower and power, because they don't realize what is going on with them. You understand what I talk about, Mr. Mackenzie?
Definitely, sir. And when you say, is they are done. It's because I myself never really understand in my younger days, or even at the genesis of the UIC, what is the role and responsibility of the government to a particular country. And after learning that, hey, listen, the government is not really responsible for giving you jobs and handouts. The government is there just to allow some very basic things at a very basic level to ensure that people can work, live, raise a family in a decent, clean, and orderly society. So the mother who is out there maybe working a night job, she can come home midnight and don't feel threatened by crime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what that does? That means all of us can be our best. We can produce to our maximum. Just imagine you live in a country. I was in Singapore the other day, and God knows, if I never loved Jamaica so much, I wouldn't come back. Like, can you imagine? You just said it, Mr. Mackenzie, living in a country where you don't have to worry about crime. My wife and I were talking about it just today again. That if you sit down somewhere in Singapore and leave your bag on a chair and walk away, you feel confident you can still come back and find the bag there with the contents in it. You might think of heaven. How can a country exist where you can have that degree of assurance? One early morning, I don't know why we were doing this, but very, very early in the morning, long before stores should open, we went into one of the plazas. And we're walking in the plaza. Just walking through very early in the morning, very, very early. I don't know why we did this. I can't remember now. So many of the stores are open, meaning they're closed enough, but they're open. You can dip your hand over and thief something if you wanted to thief something because they're open. The things are there. A little line is drawn. They just put a little cord across so that you know that it's not open for business right now. And you walk through the store, and so many of them are just open, free. But guess what? The government has so designed the environment that people who want to be criminal are afraid of being criminals. In Jamaica, we make people who don't want to be criminals be afraid of criminals. And then guess what we do in Jamaica? We criminalize the non-criminal. So we say, you can't take out as much money as you want out of your account. We can only give you this amount. You can't walk around with this amount of money. Even though it's your money, you can't walk with so much money. So we criminalize the innocent in our attempt to so-called catch the criminal. Singapore has it the other way around. Singapore free the people and focus on the criminal. So the criminal know that we're after you. And let me tell you what happened in Singapore the other day. A friend of mine was telling me there was a murder. Singapore don't normally have, it's very rare to have a murder. There was a murder, and everybody in Singapore get on their phone that the murder has happened, where it has happened, and what they need to be looking for. And as soon as there's a picture, the picture come on your phone. Here's a picture of the criminal. If you spot him, let us know. And within a few hours, they catch it. Problem solved. Because the government is committed to creating a safe space for the citizens. The role of government is to protect your rights, and the role of the Constitution is to protect you from government. Hear me carefully. The role of government is to protect your rights, and the role of the Constitution is to protect you from government. In other words, the government is supposed to be like the police officer, and the Constitution limits the government so they can never violate your rights. That's when you have good governance. When we, the people, are afraid of our government, that's not good governance. But when the government is afraid of we, the people, then you have good governance. Back to you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. I see where Monica Richard did say that writing to the Chief Justice won't help. We should find his dirty laundry. Personally, I don't have the resources to go digging through his dirty laundry, and I might get dirty myself. So I wish to avoid that. All right? But we're doing this to show him that the people of Jamaica knows what is going on in his office. Okay? We are putting him on blast and notice that his system has been discovered. That's what we're doing. We're forcing his hand. Follow the script. Send this office an email. Sign the petition. We'll do the rest. We need your support. We need you standing behind us while we do this. Again, it's easy to do from your keyboard right now. You don't
Mr.
need.
Wright,
Yes, sir.
forgive me. You did put up the email a while ago, and I was trying to share it, but for some reason the comment was removed. Could you just type it one more time for me so we can put it on the screen? So sorry about that. The system.
No problem. I'll have to drop it in the YouTube group, by the way.
Yeah, but drop it here again so we can just put it right on the screen if we can. If it's just a copy and paste, hopefully, and we can. That was my bad. I was trying to do somebody else's job and created a problem here.
No problem. No problem.
So while we're doing that, many comments in the live here, and there's a very important one. Mr. Rockwell Madison says it may be advisable to temper and tone down the pejorative descriptors levied at folks who may not have the level of knowledge that one has, especially if one seeks their support. Fully understand what you're saying, Mr. Rockwell Madison, and much appreciated. Sometimes we get very heated and we say things that may otherwise, be more wisely said. But I must admit that my point is that I have to make it very clear that those who are supporting the two parties now really can either be ignorant or evil. There's no other way. It's either you're ignorant or you're evil, because if you know what we know, then you must be evil to support that. And if you don't know what we know, you must be ignorant to support that. Just today, I saw a clip from Lisa Anna on Twitter where she said the two parties are guilty of some serious offenses against the Jamaican people, including nepotism and other activities that cause the government to waste billions of dollars and also cause the stealing of billions of dollars. That's her admission. I had to respond to her. I couldn't hold back. So I responded on TikTok and I said, and she also said in her message that she was naive when she joined the party. She was naive. She didn't really realize how bad it was. And when she joined, she found out. And I had to say this. How can you be standing to be a member of parliament where you're going to represent the people of Jamaica in your constituency, and you are going to join a party that has had several years of experience before you join it, and you did not do your due diligence to know what you were joining before you joined? That to me tells me you weren't ready to be an MP. For you to be an MP, you must know where you are joined. And she is saying that she didn't know where she had joined. However, my next question was, when did you find out and why are you still there? Because if you have now realized how dark and dirty and evil this system is, why are you still in it? Well, what she did was to say, well, the other side is the same thing too, which they always say. Many Jamaicans use that as a basis. They use it as a basis to continue to stay in the dirt. Well, the other side is the same thing too. No, well, don't join the other side. Come out from among them, my people, says the Lord. Come out from among them. If you know that the thing is a gang, leave the gang, don't remain a gangster. And the longer you stay in the gang, you're culpable and more culpable. And so, Mr. Madison, sometime you have to call a spade, even though it is true that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Some of these flies I don't want to catch. I am just in the business of pointing out that this fly here, pretty and nice and flowery and very good at marketing, but the bottom line is you're not fooling us again. We understand the trick. When they want to achieve certain things, they say, yes, we know that the two of them bad, but I am the great, nice one who wants to do something. No, we're not going to be fooled by you. Again, them bad, and we have to throw them out now. We have to take J's and go clean out the place. Dettol, bleach, broom, mop, even power washer. We have to wash them out. We have to clean it out. And so we're now going to hold back now. And as much as they're trying to lock me down, what I'm hoping will happen, I want us to spread this UIC infection across the land, that no matter how many of us them lock up, they can't stop the UIC movement, because we have infected the nation with the desire and the drive and the love of good governance, liberty, and justice for all. Back to you, Mr. Wright. Then we close off now.
Thank you. And you mentioned justice, so just the final piece on that. We need to just understand that liberty can be equated, or is equated, or equitable to justice. We need to understand that. They go hand in hand. Now, our UIC justice system will ensure that justice is very available to everyone. We will broaden the court systems. We will allow for cases to move through the system in a more expedited way by embracing technology and other means to ensure that there's no more 14-year wait for justice. There's no more 4-year wait, but a regular timetable where everyone, regardless of your station, based on the priority of your case, will move through the system at that particular pace that is set. Sooner, yes, but no later. So we look to overhaul Jamaica in a holistic way. And of course, there's definitely socioeconomic partnerships that have to be created. And as I mentioned, it's a multifaceted plan that links all the pieces, from making Jamaica clean, safe, and orderly, making the entire place be like a tourist resort, to embracing community tourism, community policing, and entrepreneurial drive as pushed by Marcus Garvey for empowerment of the people. So that's where we'll go with this new Jamaica. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I have posted there the information. You know, here's the email for the Supreme Court. Send that email info@UIC Jamaica. Sorry, not UIC. My. Send the email to info@jamaicajudiciary.gov.jm. Please, everybody, copy that down now. info@jamaicajudiciary.gov.jm, and send the email to the Chief Justice.
If I may, Mr. President.
Yes.
That request was on my behalf. Let me continue to say, send that email to the Chief Justice. Ask the question, what's happening with Mr. Patterson's case? And of course, the link for the petition is there as well. Just scroll through the chat, copy that link, paste it in your browser, and go on that petition. If you haven't signed, sign right now. All of these are simple, easy to do. Easy call to action right
I'm not
here,
seeing the
right
petition.
now.
I'm not seeing the petition, Mr. Wright. Where is it? I'm not seeing it in the comment.
It's a couple chat up on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in the comments as well. It's probably rolled off your screen.
No, I wanted to bring it up on the live, because sometimes when I go back, I don't see these comments on the live itself for whatever reason. So I want to make sure those watching tomorrow and the day after, they will see it for sure on here. So just post the link in the chat so I can just bring it up if possible for the petition.
Post it again.
All right, got it. It's in the private section. I see, that's why. All right, so let me get this over here for all of us to see.
So it is your right as a citizen to ask these questions of your representative, and the Chief Justice and the courts is a representative of the people of Jamaica. All right, you're not being asked to be threatening in any way. You're asking a simple, straightforward question: what is happening with Joseph Patterson's case? And then you're going over to the petition and you're signing that petition to let them know that we, the Jamaican people, see you for what you are. Stop messing around. Do your job. And guess what? They will know that their job is in jeopardy, because they'll realize that the UIC has your support. And that is what counts. So let's do this.
Yes.
It's right from your keyboard. You don't have to travel anywhere, so it's not costing you anything. You're on now. While you're listening to us, you can open another tab and do it right now. Both of them. So come on. I'm looking at the ticker right now, and I'm looking to see it change. Okay?
I wonder if I can see the I'm going to try, Mr. Wright, to let me see if I can do this here. I want to see it on screen and see where we are. So I'm going to try and Yeah, it look like I can get it here. 1 second. It might just be here. Okay, good. So I'm going to share on screen now the petition so we can all see it. Share screen. Let's see if that works. There we go. So here's the petition, guys. You want to get on there. I'm noticing it saying that we have 198 out of 200. So if we get 2 more petitions right now, we get it to 200. Can somebody go on the petition right now and sign the petition? So tonight we get to 200 and tomorrow we can keep going. And everyone share it to all your friends and families so that they can sign the petition as well. But this is it. You're doing it not for me, but for we. You're doing it for we the people. And if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us. Those in power don't care if I rot in jail and nothing comes off this matter, and we just move on as if they did not do an injustice to the people of Jamaica. That's what they're hoping for.
Same thing they did to Marcus Garvey.
Exactly. That's exactly what they did to him. And just lock him off, and we just move on. And then we don't say, oh, you hear the song, who remember Marcus Garvey? And that's it. And we move on. And, you know, his work, all that he has done is just left. And we continue now under the colonial powers that be. 2 more to go, and we sign off tonight. Can we get 2 more on the petition, please? 2 more persons who have not yet signed the petition. Go ahead and do so now. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Much appreciated. Thanks to all of you for being here tonight. You have been great soldiers, because we're past the time that we should have ended, but you stuck it out, and you know, we're here. Mr. Mackenzie, thank you, sir. Director Janet, Madam Jensek, let me hear your voice one more time before you go, beginning with Director Trikanowski. 30 seconds, close out.
Thanks everyone for attending. We appreciate your coming, and we want you to understand what is at stake here. This is affecting Mr. Patterson, but next time it will be us. So let us put our hands and hearts together and go and vote, sign the petition, and send the email so we can get justice for Sir Patterson. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Trakanowski. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, everyone, for, or I should say, uniters, for the support. It's very important what we are doing. As Sister Janet said, that it could be us next. So we have to do what we have to do now to protect generations to come.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Mackenzie, you get the last word tonight, sir.
One Jamaica, united, strong, and free. Peace, shalom. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Well said. Take care. All the best. One Jamaica, stronger together.
Sign that petition, people. I've not seen the ticker going up. All you got to do is click. It's just a few keystrokes.
Jump on, guys. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks again for being here. All the best.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.